Welcome, everybody. Good evening. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and I am so grateful that all of you are with us tonight. Get ready. It's going to be a powerful, powerful show. We have some wonderful presenters, wonderful music, and such an important topic about making contact. And we're going to hear some really important things. So, welcome. I especially want to welcome people that are watching on Facebook right now, and I want to invite you to come on into our Zoom room. It's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, and register. Now, once you register, you're going to get links to all three of our shows that we do every weekend. We do a show every Friday night, every Saturday night, and every Sunday morning. Always taking a theme of the weekend. This weekend's theme is the Making Contact update. Once you register, you're going to get the links for all three shows, and those will be good through April 1st. So please join us, because once you're in the Zoom room, it's much easier for you to chat with us, to connect with us, and we're going to have a very special after show that's going to include interacting with some of our Zoom room audience. And I know that a lot of people who watch, especially when we're doing shows about galactic family and ET and making contact and government disclosure, many of you have had experiences that you want to share. We want to hear your experiences. And it's easiest if you come on into our Zoom room. So welcome. It's going to be a great show and something kind of special. Deborah Giusti, who of course has been on kind of a hiatus, is back with us for one evening. And so it's my pleasure to turn it over to the woman that I first co-created Saturday Night Alive. We did 90 shows together. Here is Deborah Giusti.
Thank you, Scott. And hello, everyone, my Global Peace Tribe family. And yes, I took a little break and I'm back tonight to support Scott and the Awakening World. And I'm also creating other online programs for you where you can continue to drop in deep and intimately with the incredible luminaries that we've featured on Saturday Night Alive and the Awakening World. And like always, I want to thank you so much for your support previously of Saturday Night Alive and now the Awakening World. Your donations, your green love is what keeps it going into the future, bringing you the cutting edge information of our times. And it's so good to be back on this show featuring one of my favorite topics, which is all about connecting with our galactic family. The theme for the whole weekend is Making Contact Update, Disclosure, Integration, and Transmutation. The documentation and existence of UFOs has been around forever. I went to Egypt and I saw UFOs on the temples there. And you will hear about UFOs in ancient Native American indigenous teachings, and they're definitely in our skies today. But as you know, there's been a lot of censorship in our current society, but all that's shifting now with so many other things that are shifting as disclosure of things that are very important for us to know about is being revealed in these unprecedented times and highly evolutionary times. And many of us do have an inner knowing of the galactics, or we've actually had contact, whether it's seeing ships in the sky, being visited in dreams, having psychic messages, or actually having physical experiences. We know that there's life in the universe beyond humanity, and we know the time is now for the knowledge and the information from our galactic families to come to us, to be shared, understood, and embraced as our Earth and humanity is now going through this current evolutionary shift. And we are actually being invited to up-level our consciousness and being invited to consciously participate and connect with our galactic families. So it's really important for the incredible presenters like you'll see tonight who have been on the front lines researching and experiencing this forever of UFO documentation to share with us what's possible. What is the potential of connecting and interacting with our galactic races? I see them as our older cousins who are a few thousand years or many thousand years beyond us in evolutionary evolution. Do they have some of the answers of technology that can help solve our planet's greatest challenges? Do they have the keys to the next level of human evolution? And as above, so below, we need to practice discernment to protect ourselves from certain galactic beings that may not have our best interests. So this is a huge reality with lots of potential for the human race and for our personal evolution. And so I'm so happy tonight to bring to you these amazing presenters and our wonderful collaborative partner for tonight, Alan Steinfeld, who will help inform, inspire, and guide us towards that potential. So I'm happy to present tonight Dr. J.J. Hurtak and Dr. Desiree Hurtak. They are social scientists, futurists, authors. They're founders of the Academy for Future Science, and their research, wisdom, and teachings go back many, many years, back to the 60s and 70s. They've been on this forever. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we also have Elizabeth Sartoris. She's an evolutionary biologist, futurist, speaker, author, sustainability consultant to businesses, governments, agencies, and other organizations. She's internationally known as a dynamic speaker and media personality. Welcome, Elizabeth. And we're so happy to have on again Cornflower. He is a live looper beatboxer. His music is a fusion of organic a cappella. He sings from the heart and the soul. He's one of our favorites of Saturday Night Alive and now The Awakening World. Welcome, Cornflower. We also are going to be featuring Jodi Serota. She's one of New York's leading life-changing metaphysical educators, working as a channel, vibrational healer, and professional artist with in-depth intuitive abilities and remarkable sound healing powers. Welcome, Jodi. And another musician we're going to have is Omar Shar. He's an accomplished singer-songwriter, transformational workshop facilitator. His music, which he terms metaphysical pop, celebrates the connection of all life and the journey we all take home to our true self. Welcome. And we're so happy to have again Neil Gar. He's a philosopher, historian, researcher, and spoken word artist. He presents research on ancient wisdom and future science, and he's the founder of Portal to Ascension. Welcome again, Neil. And we're also really happy to have as a pre-record Elizabeth April, an amazing woman, cosmic intuitive channeler who has the ability to go into the other realms and dimensions in order to gain access through vibrations and visuals. And she has a strong connection with the Galactic Federation. We are also going to have another recording from Marina Seren. She's a psychic medium, extrasensory seer, a conscious challenger of higher mind, intuitive artist. She is a hybrid alien mother. She is an MKL Ultra survivor. She's super amazing. And in our after show, we are going to have John Martin, who's a classically trained guitarist who's performed for thousands around the world. And for the last decade, he used his skill to bridge and deepen connection with our star family through his music, through positive thought and love projection. Welcome, John. And now we are going to introduce our collaborative partner, Alan Steinfeld. Scott, would you like to share about Alan?
Yeah. So one of the wonderful things that's been happening, especially over the last 2 years, once the pandemic really hit, so much of our tribe is coming back together, and we're meeting a lot of wonderful new people. But I've been around this business for a long time. Deborah, of course, produced the Harmony Festival for 30 plus years. So many of us are reconnecting with old friends. And of course, we're also meeting many new friends. Well, one of my oldest friends is Alan Steinfeld. And the way I met Alan is pretty cool. I wrote and directed and produced a movie, and we were shooting it in Maui. And we were shooting at a place where Alan he thought was on vacation. But we needed an assistant director. I met Alan. He was living on the property, hanging out, and a beautiful friendship was born. And that was in 1988. So Of course, Alan has done an amazing job with creating new realities. And I love if you take a look at Alan's title, New Realities, my title, The Awakening World, they really, really fit together like a glove. Because this is this incredible time of transformation. We are waking up, we are creating a new reality. And I'm so grateful to be collaborating with you, and we're having a great time this weekend. So, turning over to Alan.
Well, thank you, Scott. Yes, it was like 30 something years ago, whatever that. And, you know, our paths have crossed. They crossed in Australia, I think a few places. And, you know, the other side, my side of that story was I was living in this tent and this beautiful property because I wanted to get away from film production, which I was doing in New York City. So it's kind of over it, and you show up with a film crew and say, we have a job. I said, well, I'm here to not have a job. So I took it. I mean, I'm living in paradise and you want to pay me. So it was great. And it was a great production. And it's led to this kind of evolution for both of us. So I'm really happy you agreed to do this program on making contact. Like you said, I wrote the book on it, which is very nice of you to say that. I didn't say that. You said that. But this is a subject that's very close to me for a reason I don't quite understand. You know, I think I've had contact experiences. I've always dreamt of the stars, and I've had to go to every single UFO conference that I could. I started hosting, emceeing them, Contact in the Desert, lots of different UFO regional shows, and interviewing people. John Mack, I interviewed, Bud Hopkins, Whitley Strieber, Linda Moulton Howe, the Hurtaks, of course, Elizabeth Sattouris. I've wanted to know what they know about this subject. So I put all this together in this book because there's a mystery going on here, and we're part of it. I think the Hurtaks get very close to understanding this, and they have lots of answers. So does Elizabeth. But what I put together about this, it's a 3-day program we're doing. The first day was disclosure. So that's the exterior. That's like what the government knows. That's hardware. Today is this experiential. This is about this in between. And tomorrow it's about transmutation. So we go from the outside to the middle to the inside to consciousness. That's also how I set up my book, the layers and chapters in my book. But just understand tonight, this integration of the higher mind and the human mind is really partly what we're focusing on here. And some of the elements of that is that I wrote this quote, these quotes down from another panel we did the other day, is that it takes a vibrational shift. We are leaving the past and entering a new future, and we need to do it on a different level of consciousness. So we need to expand. We need new cognitions. We're not going to find out about the future by going to the past. There's a whole new platform that is ready and waiting for us if we can just shift out of our animal nature. You know, humans are half divine and half animal. We're in these animal bodies. It's time for us to wake up to this higher nature. We've done the animal thing for thousands of years. And now maybe we can do the higher consciousness thing. That's one of the reasons I love to gather people like this in these groups. Another concept that I want to put out there, these beings function on a different level of consciousness. It's not just a vibration. They actually think differently. We need to expand, as Elizabeth says, and I'll go into the keyboard of our knowledge, the frequencies, the ways we understand reality. And I think quantum physics gets close to that. We have to go out of the logical, linear understanding of either or and start to realize that reality is both and. There are contradictions in the old ways of thinking, and we need to evolve awareness so it's not just black and white, up or down, night or day. There's a range of experiences that is not dualistic. And as we start to change that level of thinking, we start to make contact with these beings that are really outside the box. So we have to go beyond the logical mind, realize that we're energy, not just matter. We have to understand quantum physics, the coherency of the heart, time-space is linked, and that we are non-local. That's the final point I'll make here right now, is that who we are is non-local consciousness. We may think we're confined to this time and space, but when I teach remote viewing, everyone can see beyond the limited time space. It always amazes me, just like it amazed the people at the Stanford Research Institute, that this was possible for every human being. Our mind, our consciousness is non-local, and that's part of making contact. So that's a little introduction here. If that, I could go on and on, as you know, but
I think it's time to introduce Jodi.
Yes. Jodi Serota is one of, I knew her before I knew you, Scott. I know Jodi and I go back to 1980s, early 80s. We're taking like spirituality 101, I call it. We both met in New York after college, and we just had a connection, and I've seen her evolution to be a world-class teacher. She had a beautiful place called the Meta Center in New York, where the tribe would gather. Our tribe here would gather there in person. You remember when we used to have in-person meetings? Well, in person at the Meta Center, and it was a real doorway to higher knowledge. We had people from all levels of conscious evolution meeting at the Meta Center. And the one thing I just want to say about Jodi, she also does light language and conscious channeling. She's an artist and a great human being. But I was going to introduce, I don't think I ever told you, Jodi, I was going to introduce you to this big congregation, this big assembly we had, the Passion to Connect. There were 1,000 people there. Deepak Chopra was there, was going to speak, and I was going to introduce Jodi. And it was new to light language. And I was saying, what is these sounds and words? And then I got on stage and it hit me. I said, what Jodi Serota does is go beyond the limited mind of language and communicates in pure frequency. And I said something like that because in that moment, I realized what you were doing, Jodi. You're a holder and transmitter of higher frequencies of knowledge. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy we're still sharing the same stage. So thank you.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Scott and Deborah, for having me on here. I'm really excited to be part of this. And what I'm going to do is sort of invoke sacredness for the whole day and to help everyone to, through these light languages and sounds and information that comes through, to help us to really allow ourselves to receive the information that everyone's bringing for this day, so that it can awaken more within ourselves in the way that everyone else brings this information through. We all have our own particular ways of bringing information through, but we also have to be open to receiving and seeing what makes sense for us. So I just wanted to say also, with disclosure, I actually looked it up to have a specific definition, and it said the action of making new or secret information known. And we're all trying to connect to these other beings, these galactic beings, and to know that this is really about us finding that place within ourselves, the parts that we've kept in the dark to ourselves, that we are part of everything. The source of everything is love. It's an all-inclusive frequency. And we're all part of the same source. So in the sense of awakening to be able to connect to all these other beings in other dimensions, we first have to allow ourselves to awaken the secrets within ourselves of the truth of who we already are. So I'm going to work with that energy now, the energies now to come through with these languages. And these languages through me are a combination of energies, my guides say, through the combination of energies connecting us to the earth plane before karmic patterning began, before humans even inhabited the earth. So we're starting from a clean slate and of karma. And it connects us to the earth, the star systems, the planets, and beyond the beyond. And in that we can experience ourselves as multidimensional beings. But also these languages are like awakening the grids of our consciousness, the codes of our consciousness, to help us to remember our gifts, but also to remember the clarification and the integration that we are part of everything. We're not separate. So in that, we should be able to connect to all of these beings when it's appropriate. We're also time capsules of consciousness in a way, and we're time released, and the time is now. So we're here today and during this whole weekend to really allow for that to happen within us, and also to integrate and interconnect with everyone else that's here and beyond the beyond the beyond. So close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. I'm going to just say a prayer that I use to bring in the angels and the archangels and the legions of them, and to clear the space. Ate malkuth vegevora vegedula le'olam amen. I hereby banish from my space and all of your spaces all energies which are not appropriate, all psychic jamming, all negative emotional energies and memories which are not appropriate. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Ate malkuth vegevora vegedula le'olam amen. The atmosphere around us and through us is cleansed and purified and infused with love. The atmosphere around us and through us is cleansed, purified, and infused with love. The atmosphere around us and through us is cleansed and purified and infused with love. And I choose to be a clear, open channel of God's wisdom, love, healing, and light, bringing through the highest vibration of consciousness, of pure love that would ignite all of us within our hearts, within our souls, within our spirits, everything that we are, to remember that we are these galactic, intergalactic beings, all connected to the same source, to remember ourselves as love. Again, it's an all-inclusive frequency, no conditions, so that we can live in peace and harmony and come into this unified consciousness for everyone. Breathe and open your hearts. We speak to your hearts. We speak to the part of yourselves that allow for your hearts to finally open, even with all the pain and the sadness and all the things from all this karmic patterning from all time, space, and dimensions, going back to the truth from before all of that came upon you in any lifetime, any dimension. And as you breathe and open your hearts, breathe and close your eyes, go into a deeper place into your hearts, and imagine that the heart energy of love is in every cell of your being, every atom, every molecule, and awakening the energy in your DNA strands of the truth of ourselves as love, connected to everything that there is. Even the word connection makes it sound like we have to become something separate to connect. This is to imagine, to recognize and allow for ourselves to feel interconnected, intertwined, merging back to the truth of who we already are. Bashani masani malakiana romar, to remember that sacredness. Akshana kiana no badaru, amma no guri shataru kurianade. And be able to regenerate and rejuvenate our systems, because our bodies in this human form need to be healthy and able to withstand the difference of the shifts in the changes and the shifts that are taking place, coming into a higher frequency. So as we become more aware of our frequency in the truer sense, but in human form, our physical bodies have to, in a sense, lift up the vibration to meet the higher vibration of our souls, so that we can have our souls live in our bodies on this plane as if it's your home for your soul to live in and express through. We need to be aware of being here in our physicality in order to be able to be on the planet with our souls, the original higher conscious choice we've made, to accept that choice as a good, right, and safe choice, so that we can accept the choices we make now while we're in physical form, but to remembering ourselves as multidimensional beings. Asani manani manani matati nakulani maridi roshanare Amara doro kurina shalamari godorum Barishala baligira badigira badigira baded marigira mananate to kura manina barikiti namatanate Umbarati taklikin naklukarim batakitam batakin batakin date takatum bate takatung date takatung date batakita batakut batakita katakut namakete Kuanaru Kishana de Omahana ikina rukurusha doru asanena dokurana roa. And as you breathe, give yourselves permission to actually disclose the sense of who you really are in truth. So as we come into recognizing the truth of who we already are and embodying that, integrating that, merging that into ourselves to become these beings that are just here in one incarnation, but we're connected to everything that exists. And the more we resonate with that awareness, the more those things that people are seeing when you're worried that you can't see something or feel something or know something or tap into these higher dimensions and beings, the more you start to resonate with the truth of who you are as these beings, as we're all part of the same source, the more you'll start to have experiences that feed your soul and help you to remember yourself. So take a few deep breaths. Allow your hearts to open even more, your heart centers to open even more so now, as if we're getting ready now for this wonderful day or evening, wherever you're located, to allow to yourselves to really be present, to allow your presence to really be acknowledged from yourself and be part of this group that we formed here today. Because we're all here for a reason, to remember the truth of who we are in relation to everything else. Everything is in relation to something else. But we're here to merge everything that we are with all that exists in all these different dimensions and galaxies and beyond the beyond. So allow for that, acknowledge it, celebrate it, and feel the sacredness of knowing that you are truly the experience and the truth and the resonance of pure love, an all-inclusive frequency. Lots of love to everyone.
Thank you so much, Jodi. And it's beautiful, such a unique invocation. And what I love is, of course, the depth of your passion and your awareness. But just as you're bringing through a language that's different than we're used to hearing, it really helps us to open, and that's what it's all about, opening our minds, opening our hearts to new experiences, to new possibilities, to new dimensions. And I really want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
But also it's about bypassing the logical mind. But at the
Yes.
same time, the energies are awakening the masculine and feminine, which you do a lot of that work as well. I do that too. That it's bringing that masculine and feminine energy together as one. So it's the merging of all these parts of ourselves in oneness. Again, it's unity consciousness within ourselves and unified consciousness for all that exists through all time, space, and dimensions. Thank you.
Oh, hey, I just want to let people know how they can get more Jodi. She does amazing readings. You can actually schedule a time to go in and get an Akashic record reading with her. So go to her name, Jodi, spelt Jodi, Serota, Serota, JodiSerota.com. And then once you go there, you can sign up for one of her channeled readings. She also does amazing channeled art. She works with crystal skulls. There's a lot that she's doing. So definitely check out her website at JodiSerota.com. And thanks again, Jodi. It's great to see you again and have you back on our show.
You know, I want to say, Scott, when you're in the room with Jodi, if we ever get to share a room again, there's a vibration that you can feel. It's palpable in the air when those sounds come through, and you maybe hear too, but in person, it just goes right through you and you feel this shift. So that's why I've known her for so long, because of those shifts. And you can see why I wanted her to do the invocation, because it just sets the platform for the show.
Beautiful. And